document. And good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the committee that has put this together and give us an opportunity to share what we do, the good things we do at USC for students. So let me go ahead and I've been trying to keep track of the time. And let me just to make sure that I don't go beyond the time. We have 10 minutes, correct? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's right.
Okay. So let me go ahead and first make sure that I share this out as well. And here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is app that I used. It's called Puppet Pals. And why did I use this app? Is because I am always looking for something interesting for students, something engaging that can help them acquire more of the language and also have fun. So this project stemmed out of the idea of expanding one of our portfolios that we already do in Spanish 2. Spanish 2 or Spanish 150 is the second semester in Spanish basic language program. And what they do in this portfolio is that they already create written stories by changing the ending of Spanish short films or cortometrajes that they have already watched. So we have a portfolio already in existence with the written story. So since they already created this story, I wanted them to use their creativity and use a little bit of technology that is not complicated, because believe me, it is not complicated to use Puppet Pals, to design a puppet show for the stories to come to life. So Puppet Pals 2 facilitate role play, which is ideal for our language classrooms, storytelling, narrating in the present and the past, and vocabulary building, dialogue creation, and cultural exploration, because they can come up with different topics. So where is it? It's a storytelling tool where students write, narrate, and perform a dialogue or a short story form. And these skills that they use can be easily aligned with ACTFOLD standards that we use in our language courses. And why would a professor want to use Puppet Pals in the language classroom? Well, they can foster active and creative way of language production because it's fun to use these little puppets or characters. Puppet Pals allows students to write, perform, and record original dialogues that they already created in their Tangwar language. And after seeing the portfolios, students do portfolios for so long, now it's changed. Now we're doing something else, another project. We're always innovating. But they were great stories, and I wish we could do something more with those stories. Sometimes we ask the students to produce material, and then the material remains there. So I wanted them to do something else. So students apply and use the vocabulary that they've learned, the grammar they've been practicing in a meaningful way, and uh, and it's perfect for Spanish 2 level, because at this level, students can handle simple conversations. They can narrate in the present. They're beginning to narrating in the past, prior and imperfect in Spanish. And then, of course, we can integrate the three modes of communication: interpersonal, interpretive, and presentational. So that was something that encouraged me, or it caught my attention when I saw that. Now, when we do these kinds of projects, we also like to see how they align to ACTFL as much as they can, to see if it will be good for us to have it, maybe to continue or maybe to implement in our curriculum. So these are some of the alignments. As far as communication, we already talked about the three modes of communication: uh, cultures, products, practices, perspectives. The stories could include a cultural topic. It could be legends, customs, social values, sustainability practice, now that I went to Costa Rica by master. So they can include several topics, and there are connections to content knowledge, to knowledge that they've learned. They can add to their vocabulary. And as well, they can compare cultural perspectives in their story. And if we students share their projects in the classroom, but if we think that we can further and have students share from different classrooms their portfolio project or their video, we will be expanding these projects beyond the classroom like we do in with our video projects in the Spanish program. Now, what kind of ideas can we do with this app? So we can do cultural encounters like visiting a Spanish speaking country, like a day in Machu Picchu, and students can create whatever they can picture. They can add their own pictures. They can, with the app, they can take pictures of themselves and add them into the program. That's the paid version. They can talk about a folk tale from Hispanic America, from Spain, or any country, according to the target language. They can talk about the day in the life of a historical fictional character, or the day that everything goes wrong, or the day that everything goes well. So they're different, and these are just examples that of ideas that one can do with this app. Now, so this is the portfolio. It's hard to see, so I will put in the chat the portfolio on a PDF so you guys can see. And so the portfolio has a narration right here, and students are to use only these films for their projects. And these are short films, so cortometrajes. So let me pause and put in the chat the document so that you can, as it's very tiny. So let me see. Let me see if I can go ahead and everybody can see the screen, correct? Yes? Oh, okay, because I have all these messages on my screen. Okay, so let me pause. And let me put in the chat the document so that you can access it. I am going to put, and that's to everyone. There. And at the end, I can also share the presentation with you. I just wanted you, since it's very difficult to see, and I didn't want to break down all the little details of the portfolio, the presentation. I just wanted to have that. I prepared the other handout for you. So that's what they did. They have this portfolio in which they watch a short film, and then the portfolio ends with this area right here where it says a reflexionar after they created their story. And that's the end. So I added this part to the portfolio where the instructions say, form a group and now create a story, a puppet pals. And I just go and explain to them what it entails. And so I took it into the classroom. We didn't have much time for it, but I how do students create videos? So the first time I wanted to try is I just want them to jump in without script or anything and play with it. I wanted to see if they would like it. If not, forget about all these projects. It's just bye-bye Puppet Pals. And so students did, and they were having fun. They were using the vocabulary spontaneously because they didn't have any script. So they were using what they remembered. And I'm gonna click on it and hopefully you can hear.
Hola, me llamo Mary.
Can you guys hear? Yes? Okay, sorry for the loudness. It came out really loud on mine. Okay. So this first one is spontaneous. They had no script.
Hola, Mary, ¿cómo estás? Estoy bien. ¿Cuál es tu restaurante favorita en la ciudad? Mi restaurante favorita en mi ciudad de Los Angeles es Cava en la Village de Universidad del Sur de California. ¿Cuál es tu restaurante favorito en tu ciudad? Mi restaurante favorito es Chipotle. Oh, es Shakespeare. Hola, Shakespeare. Hola, Mary.
Adios, Shakespeare.
So as you can see, they were just having fun, laughing, and because there's only so many characters you can have in the free version. So there's Shakespeare. And for the second one, I can show you is the one where they had already worked on the script and now they were trying to record it. They didn't have that much time to practice because sometimes a student would be absent in the classroom and they couldn't record. And I asked the students to do this in the classroom, and I'll tell you why in a little bit.
¿Qué?
I'm sorry, are we supposed to see something?
Yes, are you not seeing anything?
Mm.
Oh,
No.
I see. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. There was maybe another return that I was supposed to do. Um,
Oh,
I'll just, it's my bad, but can you see it now?
okay.
Yes? Okay. All right. So this was the first one. So this is the sample video. My apologies. I thought you were seeing.
That's
Okay,
probably
so
me. Sorry.
I'm glad you said that something, Evgeny. Okay, so I was saying that this is the first one with no script, and I wrote in English more or less what they say. So I'll just play the half of it so that because you already heard it.
Hola, me llamo Mary.
Hola, Mary, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien. ¿Cuál es tu restaurante favorita en la ciudad?
Mi restaurante favorita en mi ciudad de Los Angeles es Cava en la Village de Universidad del Sur de California. ¿Cuál es tu restaurante favorito en tu ciudad?
So I'll pause it there for the sake of time. So that's the one in which there is spontaneity with just playing with the puppet path. And this is when they already had worked on their script. They added music as well.
¿Qué? Tengo frío.
Yo también.
Estás loca.
Tú más.
Te quiero.
Te. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
And I pause it right there. So students are creating, but now they have a script. And it's now there's a narration that they're creating. Now, the timeline for the project. Students first had to get together, brainstorm their ideas, and then come up with the script using some of the vocabulary and the grammar. They already had half of the portfolio done. So they just shared their portfolio and they decided on which one to create. Then the next step was to rehearse their own scripts or their ideas, put it together, practice the pronunciation. Then was creation day, and they needed to be together. They did it in the classroom, and they practiced different sounds and etc. On the presentation days, students uploaded their videos, and we all sat and watched all the videos. And then in the end, provided a feedback and a reflection on the activity. So I used a rubric to grade that little section of the portfolio because I wanted to see how they did, and I wanted to show them also how they did in this part. And the project had limitations. Not everybody has an iPad. So I borrowed some iPads and then I put in groups, students in groups so that they could have one. It only works on an iPad. And also absences on the day that it was recording day, background noise that you could hear. And maybe not enough time to practice because I used it as the end of the portfolio that they had already turned in. So we needed more time to practice. As a summary, and what can I say about this activity? It was engaging. Students developed their target language further as they check on each other's grammatical concepts, and they were constantly collaborating to resolve grammatical issues. So they were able to expand a project in which they had already worked and invested time. And they were from individual work towards a group activity. And they were constantly negotiating meaning because they're like, wait, what do you mean? And they were all trying to work like this in class. So I appreciate for your time. I apologize for the not seeing the video, but we can talk more at the discussion time. Thank you.
Should we take a few minutes for questions? Yeah, so Atia, it looks like you.
Yeah. Hi. I was wondering, Karen, was this for French, for Spanish 120?
It was for Spanish 150.
150. Okay.
Because, yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So then they had on the other portfolios, they made more use of structures used in 150, like I think you do the past in 150 and things like that.
Correct. So
Okay.
when they started with their projects and they didn't have a script because in Spanish too, they're introduced to preter, the past tense, preter, and imperfect.
Mhm.
And so and I noticed this, when you give the students something to try, like this game, they went straight to present tense. It's like, I feel safe.
Yeah.
This is my safe space, present tense.
Mhm.
So they worked on it and they started, hola, what's your favorite restaurant? Oh, I
Mhm.
like this one. But because I am using to target this with the purpose of their past tense and how they learn and they practice, the script was supposed to be in preterite and imperfect. So then I added more information as to how are you going to create this script, not just present tense and have fun. You're going to use what you're learning
Mhm.
to apply it.
Mhm. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, Sasha.
Yeah, thank you. I was wondering just if you could, I don't know, maybe articulate what's the sort of benefits of using this app versus just creating a dialogue sort of, or play a scene in the classroom, because but I understand how it's engaging, but what made me think of it, it looks like there is this sort of slightly distracting element to this, especially if it's made spontaneously during the class. So I think it's like really cool as sort of a take-it-home assignment. But yeah, I'm just wondering, yeah, what's the benefit
Yes,
compared to
sure.
other formats?
Sure, thank you. So one of the things that I was looking in this project was for them to, and probably if I had had some samples of the stories they created in the past, I would like to have seen the stories they created in this activity, the narrations that they did, and because of that, that's what triggered. I wonder how can they actually not like a skit or trying in the classroom that we have our group of actors and you're gonna perform the scene. That would also be fun. But I was looking into something they can share with the other students because in the portfolio that what I saw the limitation in our portfolio is that the story I read it and that was the end of it. So the purpose of taking into this puppet pals or maybe a classroom activity in which they act out their story, and students do a video project when they actually record themselves, and so this was more to see those stories that within a group, students share what they did. They feel proud of themselves, and they are trying to understand the language at the same time. They're sharing and they're trying to negotiate meaning while students reading their story. And then they decide on one to create one. And at first I thought, I'm gonna do this at home. Everybody is gonna do their own story at home and they can use the little characters to move around. That if anybody is interested, I have a 2-minute video that can show you how this works. And but not everybody has an iPad. And then I inquired, can I buy iPads for the class? No, okay. And so that was the end of the buying the iPads. So, but I thought at first to have this as an individual project because they will have more time. But there were different reasons. I wanted a group project where they can read each other's work and have that and present that at the end. So that was, but at first I thought individual. So yeah. Thank you, Sasha, for the question.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I was wondering, I have a question about how the Puppet Pals works. Do the students choose from like a pre-made videos, or can
Oh,
they
no.
say and how the script goes?
Yeah. Okay. So if that okay if I show a 1.5 minute video of how it works? I did this video myself. Hello?
Yes, right?
Hello? Yeah.
Have the time? I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see if I can play it. Okay, let's get started. That's me. Puppet Pals is an app that enables you to make a puppet show or an animation to tell a story. First, let's open the app so I can show you. You click there. This is the main menu. You click on play. And now these are the locations, the setting for your story. I'm going to choose this one. And now you can also choose the characters. If you go here, because I have the free version, I don't have more options for characters. So I'm going to choose him. And I'm going to go back and choose her. Now, if you hear some background music, it's because this is on. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to also choose a mode of transport. I'm going to choose the horse. And now we're ready for the story. So now let's place our characters. And if you see, the location moves to the right or to the left. It has the ability to scroll across, so your stage is bigger. So let me go ahead and place her somewhere. I'll put her here by the house. And she stays there. And now I'm going to place him. Now, if you want him to go on the transport, in this case, the horse, you can just put him on top. And once you see that black rectangle, you let it go. And now he's riding or he's on the mode of transport. If you want him off, you double tap and he's off. So let me go ahead and look that black rectangle. And now we're ready for our story. When we're ready for our story, we need to go back to the arrow and click on that red button. So click on it and let's begin. Oh, what a beautiful day today. I'm so excited. I have no problems, no issue, just you and I, horsey. We're gonna have such a beautiful day. Ah! Oh, what was that? To be continued. And that's how you create. It's as simple as that. And you just move and speak. So I had the students in the classroom, they all got their fingers, okay, my turn. And they will be moving the characters. And in the end, you press stop. You get an option that says save or delete. If you save, you can airdrop your story to your computer and it's done. You don't have to edit. It's one take and it's done. So I thought that it was gonna be easier for the students and to be done in group work without the editing that they do for our video projects. That is a different type of project that involves more editing. And so I thought this was simple. Once you play it, you don't see the hand. My hand is there because I was recording this so that you could see how I do it or how it's done. But once you save it, the hand doesn't appear and you just see the little guy moving. Oh, what a beautiful day. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thanks for showing me how that works. That looks really cute, actually.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, maybe we should move on to our next presentation. We have Sasha Pchelintseva, sorry if I mispronounced your name, a PhD candidate at the Department of Slavic Languages and Literatures.
Yeah. Okay, let me share my screen. It should be this. And hello. All right. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to talk about the project I was able to develop with the help of the Teaching Innovation Grant. And initially my project was, and still is, the series of educational videos on universal grammatical concepts, meaning the concepts that can be applied to as many languages as possible. And the idea for this project was born in a classroom, which I hope testifies at least to some extent to its relevance. And it was a student of mine who signed up for my office hours to discuss a rather advanced topic in Russian grammar. And by slowly disentangling the source of their confusion, I came to understand that we weren't speaking the same language. A vast majority of the notions and concepts I used in the classroom, even without necessarily explaining them, just basically saying some sentences, they were unfamiliar to them. And since so many of my students were freshmen, I sort of took it for granted that it might be the source of this misunderstanding might be the K-12 language education. So that's what I looked for, some sort of inspiration and support for my project. And the question of teaching grammar in schools and purposes it serves has long been debated. And for much of the 20th century, it was believed that teaching students the meta language of English, and I specifically focus on articles that talk about teaching English in the context of developing writing and oral skills. So for much of the 20th century, it was believed that teaching English meta language, the language we use to talk about English, would result in improving oral and written skills. However, more recent experiments have shown that traditional grammar teaching does not contribute at all to writing development. But nevertheless, it has been also demonstrated that teaching meta language can be valuable as a goal in itself if you want students to understand how language works. And what was most important for me personally is that establishing a shared meta language and tools for language awareness has been shown to support the development of these skills, which basically left me wondering, why don't we teach meta language? Or to phrase it better, why don't we establish this shared meta language with our students? Because this practice is common in all academic disciplines. You need to acquire the specific language of the field to be able to discuss the content in this field, but not in language acquisition, at least not that much. And in short, that was what prompted me to undertake this project. I don't suggest that it should be a goal in itself, teaching these concepts, but rather a communication tool to ensure that my students and I are on the same page about the language I use and we use in the classroom to talk about language. So it's not to replace speaking the language in the classroom, but to assist how we communicate about it. And so that's why I conceptualized this project as an accessory and additional tool for language teaching, not a replacement for this teaching. And there were several guiding principles in conceptualizing this project. I chose English as the base language for all explanations and the majority of examples. And the model I followed was this series entitled English Grammar for Students of Many Different Foreign Languages, which draws parallels between English and the target language of each book. However, since my goal was to create a more or less universal explanation that would cover as many languages as possible, I limited the examples from foreign languages, introducing them only as contrastive backdrops when English alone does not illustrate a certain concept. And as for the format, I opted for short videos, all under 5 minutes or ideally even shorter. And another idea was to use memorable, vivid images to explain each concept and make it stick in the viewer's mind. And these images might either support entire group of concepts, such as what I do, for example, in the video about root, stem, and ending, where the whole video is built on a parallel between plant structure and word structure, or even individual concepts illustrated through telling visuals. And for instance, for example, a stressed vowel might sort of literally carry a heavy weight, heavy load to visualize the idea that it's stressed and the idea of stress. And to reduce the cognitive load, I also decided to limit the number of examples so that the same words and phrases reappear across multiple videos as I explain different grammatical concepts. As for the content itself, the videos cover a range of grammatical concepts, and this is so far the range of concepts I chose to illustrate. They are all at different stages of readiness. Scripts for videos exist for all of these concepts. The videos highlighted in the concepts highlighted in green are those videos that are currently ready in their pre-production stage while they are filmed, but it's the initial first attempt that will be updated this time. And this orange ones, basically they only need to be recorded. So they're also kind of almost ready. And the scripts, as said, exist for all these videos. Right, so how these videos exist as of now, the ones that are recorded, those that are currently finished have been posted on CLC YouTube channel in a separate playlist titled Grammar Across Borders. It's a provisional title, and I'm still looking for better alternatives. So if you have suggestions, I'm very open to receive any. And I think without any further ado, let's just watch one of the videos. I chose the shortest one on, vowels. So let's watch it.
Sasha, we don't hear anything.
You don't hear anything?
No.
That is
Okay.
because when you share the screen, you have to share the sound as well.
I see. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Anyone else how to share the sound? Oh yeah, share computer sound. Let me then retry. Do you hear it now? Okay, if it doesn't work, I will just, no. Okay, in that case, let me stop sharing. I'll just open it in YouTube, but I don't know if it will work better. I'm sorry about that.
You can share the video also on the chat, just the video.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now.
If you put it in, if it's not working on your end, I could share it on my end if I have the link too.
I'll give it a last try. If not, I'll just send you the link.
Vowels. Vowels are the second major type of sounds in language. While pronouncing consonants blocks or narrows the vocal tract and disrupts the airflow, vowels are made with no such obstruction. Your tongue, lips, or teeth don't get in the way. Try saying the sounds ah, e, o. Notice how smoothly the air flows. You can even hold those sounds as long as you have breath. Because there is no closure involved, you might think that languages have fewer vowel sounds than consonants. But there actually aren't as few as the alphabet suggests. Take English. There are 5 vowel letters: A, E, I, O, and U, but each of them can stand for several different vowel sounds. It depends on where the letters appear in a word and the sounds that surround it. The letter A, for instance, can represent A in cat, A in father, or A in name. Why does this matter? Vowels are what make speech flow. Every syllable in every word is built around a vowel, optionally surrounded by consonants. Vowels are the core of syllables, and only vowels can carry stress in a word. So understanding how vowels work helps you hear words more clearly, pronounce them more accurately, and recognize them faster in any language.
All right. let me stop sharing this and return to my presentation for the conclusion. Yes. Oh, okay. 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 Right. So how the final product will look like, I hope. The videos will be posted on CLC website in form of a video listing, which basically means there's a list of videos that you can search through. They're just attached from YouTube, basically, and you can basically scavenge through them by using categories that are also pre-attached and pre-identified. For now, I just put here the categories I identified to structure the terms. Yes, and that's it. I will appreciate any sort of feedback you may have about this project. And to this end, I'm planning to circulate a Google form with questions covering various aspects of the project, like the content of the videos, the representation of different languages taught at USC, the density of explanation, range of examples, and the overall format, including length, visuals, presentation style, etc., etc. And finally, if you believe there are concepts that should be included in this series and are not yet there, I'd ask you to share it with me through this form as well. And if there is sufficient demand, let's say it's relevant for more than 1 and 2 languages, I'll be happy to develop a separate video for it. Yeah, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sasha. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, yes, Ati.
Hi, thank you, Sasha. The video is quite impressive how you made it. I certainly don't have that technological prowess, so quite impressive. I was wondering, so I think it's a very good idea. So we have a language practicum 1-unit course for our French 1 and French 2s, where we bring in, because we use only French in class, so the concept of a verb, pronoun, what a pronoun does, and we can offer that explanation in English. So I think it's very important. Many of them don't have that metalinguistic ability in English, so they don't understand that. I was wondering, so the vowels was a good video that you showed, so I appreciate that. And the one distinction, for example, I don't know about Russian, but between English and French is that English has diphthongs. So where you were saying about vowels being open, ah, and you can go on. Well, English, often the mouth closes, a, o, I. And so the syllables are kind of closed, whereas in French we have open syllabation. So I was wondering, would it be possible within there for you to kind of attract students' attention that depending on your language, in English there are diphthongs, so pay attention to the language that you're learning, whether it's open syllables and remains open. So maybe where that comparative kind of not study, but just awareness is brought forth for students so that they realize those differences, which is what is something hard for them to do.
No, definitely. Yes, I thank you so much for this remark. I think that, yeah, that's something I would need to add to the script of this video for sure. And in general, I was trying to build this awareness, but yeah, simplified it phonetically sort of for some reason, but yes, totally, like I'm doing these comparisons and like trying to build this awareness that like some processes are not exactly the same in English, and like some might be more complex, some not as complex as in other languages. So that's definitely a goal.
Yeah. And I know it's difficult. None of us speak all languages, but if there could be a bit, like you give a very good example, which is something that's difficult also for students, is that in English, they think French pronunciation is difficult, or I'm sure they think Russian is, but English actually is a lot more difficult because you have a, it's pronounced so many different ways. And maybe to bring that within a certain group of languages that it would, yeah. So, but I think it's very useful. It's a great thing to do, and our students need it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Karen?
Yes, thank you, Sasha. I have a question. I was looking at the videos. And I noticed that teaching the language, do authentic materials play a role in these projects that you have, or they're mainly teaching the language?
Could you just kind of develop a little bit what I mean by this?
Yeah, authentic materials. So if you're using the target language, whatever it is, in let's say a dialogue
Okay.
that people may hear it on the street, and are you using that, or is that part of the videos? I know that you share with us, for sake of time, only selected videos and also the length. And I appreciate that because we can visualize what you're explaining to us. But we always have this authentic material search, and I was wondering if you do have that in this project, or have you considered, or there are some videos about it?
No, I did not consider it very openly because one of the reasons was that, again, as I said, I was trying to cater to as many languages as possible. So I was also trying to, as much as possible, limit the examples from other languages, including authentic materials, because basically, including this, I think, on some way we move from the system towards more individual and situational use. So it would be just kind of hard to put into a smaller form. But with that being said, again, any suggestions on other concepts that might be useful to develop as a separate video, anything on, I don't know, socialects, dialects, that sort of thing, yes, why not? If it's useful for multiple languages, for teaching multiple languages, I'd be open for this.
Any other questions? All right, well, then in that case, let's move on to our last presenter. We have Rania Ben Amor, senior lecturer in the Department of French and Italian.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Molly, and thank you for the PD committee for giving us this space to present our research. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So I'll be talking about the chatbot that I have designed and trained and incorporated into my Brightspace in my French 3 class. And this idea came from the observation that 65% of the students were using chatbots or ChatGPT bot on a weekly basis, which is a high level, and 80% of these students were using the bot for tutoring purposes. So my question was how to control this exchange, how to structure this exchange with bots and guide it towards our language teaching goals and our pedagogy. So in my presentation, I will be talking about why developing a chatbot for our classes, what are the problems that we are solving, and what are the objectives, what are the use cases of the design chatbot, how I used it and incorporated in my classroom, and how to DIY a chatbot if anyone is interested. And a year later, what are the feedbacks that I have received from my students, some reflection on the policy and some legal considerations. So starting with the utility of developing a chatbot and using it is to work on the limited opportunities that the students have to review and prepare and practice outside of the classroom, to also work on the constraint of the delayed feedback. As educators, we cannot always give an immediate feedback, so maybe a chatbot would be faster than us. We also have uneven access to individualized guidance. Our office hours are limited, but also access to private tutors. It's not accessible to everyone. Also, the general chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini are not regulated and do not match the level of our students. And sometimes the students, or most of the time, our students are not conscious of their level, so they will not be able to determine that they are intermediate low or intermediate mid. So the chatbot will not be adjusted to their level and will be sometimes overwhelming them with a vocab that they have not seen, or give very beginner level answers. So to solve all of these problems and to increase time on task for writing and reviewing beyond the classroom time, and to provide faster rubric-aligned formative feedback on the quality of the work, and to give more personalized and more immediate feedback, but also to build an AI literacy where transparency, citation, and reflection on the tool of AI comes into the discussion, where the student is finally allowed to use a chatbot. And AI, it's no longer a taboo topic, and that we're encouraging the students to be honest, because they're not just using any chatbot, but they are using this guided or structured chatbot that is designed for their level and designed for this classroom. It also opens the conversation about the utility of the chatbot and the use in the debate can go beyond that. How I use the chatbot in my classes, I use it to give instant feedback for the students, to produce some grammar exercises, and the bot can be a way faster way than me in producing exercises about the grammar, or it can be like a matching or a fill in the blank activities. Vocabulary drills, cultural insights, like asking, hey, can you explain the difference between the French of France and the French of Quebec, etc., and give examples, or real-time conversation practice. Another idea is to mimic a conversation with a protagonist of the novel studied in class, where they, so we study a novel that is very absurd. In my radical and Cartesian mind will not be as faster as a bot in imagining an absurd conversation or surreal conversation. So chatbot was useful in faster in this situation. Now, how I build the chatbot, here I'm getting into a little bit more technical stuff. I use this platform, Hugging Faces. There are many platforms, but this is I think the easiest, or the one that made more sense to me. And it's an open source platform where everyone can create a platform if they have like a minimal technical knowledge. And as you can see here, everyone can share their platforms, their tools that they have developed, and it can come under different formats, like generating text, video, pictures, etc. So I chose to work to develop a chatbot. So the first step is to choose an LLM, which is like a large language model. And from all the open source models that we have here, I do not have enough technical knowledge to know what's the difference between everyone, but the quality will differentiate between a model to another. I can see a DeepSeek here, a Sora here, but the one that I chose was the Llama, the one developed by Meta, and the open source version of it. I will share with anyone interested. I can share with you the Google Doc on how to follow step by step the building or the DIY of the chatbot. Now, the second part, after choosing the model that we want to work on, is to prompt the system. And here, by prompting, I mean training the system to give the functions that we want it to do, to guide it, and sometimes to limit it. So prompting is the most difficult part because it requires multiple steps, and I ended up with 6 pages prompt for this chatbot. So the first the first guideline that I should give to the bot is who should it be acting like. And here I gave an example: act like a knowledgeable, experienced French language instructor. Who are some potential users to the chatbot? French 3 students at USC, and I'm giving here some context on how the chatbot should perform. What kind of poster tone should the chatbot have? And I'm here saying encouraging, just to be brief. Scope and limitation: never give an answer in a paragraph style. And the objective was for me to limit the chatbot to write the compositions for the students, because that's not what I want them to do. Any specific ways you'd like them to talk to users, interactive scenarios, ask a lot of questions, any behavioral guardrails you would like to put in place. I decided on emphasizing the importance of going back to the textbook to review, just because I realized that the students may rely on the chatbot rather than the textbook, but that should be our main reference and our major our our reference for the class. And then I also added the aspects of a particular learning theory or technique that I would like to make sure the chatbot includes. And here I said, encourage asking questions, opt for the Trojan spirit. So just to add some fun to the chatbot, it will be acting as a Trojan. It will be encouraging the students to fight on each day. So this is for the prompt part. And then after using the bot for a whole semester, I shared with the students a Google form to fill with their feedback on the chat bot, and one of the students was rated it as an excellent experience. And then for the question, what do you like most about the chatbot? This student, Jessie, said, I like that it didn't require a lot of prompting to get it to quiz me. And this in contrast with just a ChatGPT conversation, the student will have to come up with activities, with a context, with a question, etc. So this chatbot was ready. I found it to be very helpful to study for the test. I also like that when I answered something wrong, it corrected me and explained what the correct solution was. A second student rated it as good. And the feature they liked the most was the instant feedback. And then when I asked deeper questions, and I got really lucky this semester because I had students who were way older than me and way more knowledgeable than me when it comes to AI. So I had a very developed answer, and we had our conversation after the class, and it was super fun about like AI and chatbots. So this student said, originally when I asked the bot to quiz me on the conditionnel, it gave me a hypothetical sentence like I asked, and then told me to use the conditionnel present when in reality I would have liked to have figured that out on my own. So these situations may happen, and if anything, the educator or the professor need to go back to the prompting and ask the chatbot each time to change the instruction, to change the responses or the questions or the interaction with the student. Then this student developed when for the suggestions on how to improve the baguette bot. They said, I help business leverage AI for a living and think just from the experience that it would be helpful to create a few different prompted chat bots that have different functions rather than just one bot that requires students to prompt themselves. For example, if you have one chat bot that only drills on your conjugation, by giving you a sentence with a blank space and then ask you to write the best conjugated verb, etc. So the student has suggested, he's way more knowledgeable in AI, more technical, and his suggestion to use multiple chat bots, not only one, and each one will have like a different function or working on different grammatical structure. I can go. I just want to be mindful of the time, and I'm gonna skip some other feedback, and then 1 year later, I realized there are some limitations, like hallucination. When the AI does not have the right answer, it can like circle around and come up with something that is not necessarily correct. I also realized that there could occur some inaccuracies, and this is why the awareness among students and educators is important, that the AI still can make mistakes and that our students can be smarter than the AI. It also needs a constant prompting. So for every time I realize something was off, I need to go back to the prompt and fix it so that that mistake or that error does not happen again. I also realized that there are some legal consideration. Talking with the director of our program, we had the test to test it together, and it opened my eyes about the copyrights because initially I wanted to prompt the chatbot with the syllabus, with our textbook, so that the interaction with the student can be more guided and more structured towards our class. But then we realized that our textbook is protected and has copyrights that we cannot put on an LLM, especially here in open source LLM. So we don't want our resources to be floating around on internet. And then also for data privacy and FERPA, I was very mindful about not sharing the students' personal data like their names, their Trojan ID, their USC ID, their grades, etc. And this is something to be aware of, even using other platforms, other AI platforms, because they are using these information to train the AI. So that can contradict some laws. And then I also wanted to be mindful of the departmental and university policies when it comes to AI. I couldn't find anything particularly related to chatbots. So if anyone knows anything, I'll be happy to hear about that. And then, as an update from this week, California is the first state in the US to regulate the AI chatbots. And it's interesting because California is the hub for all these technical tech companies. So this comes after Europe. They have already established the regulation, and then California is the first one in the US. It's already challenged by a lot of companies, but it validates our baguette bot idea, because we need regulation. We need the bots to be more structured, and we need them to respect more our goals and objectives, and not just to give to work in general. And yeah. One of the key or the next steps that I'm considering is to evaluate on an A/B test how the chatbot and traditional homework, what is the difference between both of them, and maybe try to replicate the experience with my other levels, with the other French classes or language classes that I'm teaching. What would be the difference between the French 3 and the French 2 student interaction with the bot, and also to use more anonymized data sets when it comes to the bot. Voila, thank you so much for your attention, and I would welcome any question, any remark. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rania. Do we have any questions? Yes, Yvette?
Fascinating, Rania. You know, I saw you in the presentation on the Pamela. I'm a
Oh,
fan
yeah.
because I follow all your presentations on AI, and just like Mina is also really good at it. So I just wanted to ask you, this baguette chatbot, it's your idea, or it already existed? It's your creation?
No, the baguette bot is my creation. It got inspired from a Stanford colleague, but I was able to replicate it and use it and adapt it to my class of French 3. Yeah, and I'll be happy to share with you, if anyone is interested, the step-by-step sheet how I created this.
Oh, yes, please. Very fascinating.
Thank you.
Sasha?
Yeah, I don't have like really any questions, but like just wanted to share that it's very fascinating, and there's like so much discussion right now in all the different educational contexts on like how preventively introduce AI into the classroom, because the awareness is there that students use it no matter what. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, students are using it anyway, so maybe if we can have a grasp on that, control it, and yeah, it would be more effective maybe, and we would avoid some like disastrous yeah events. Yeah.
Thank you, Rania, for this presentation. Yes, I'd love to pick your brain more as we teach the same section. I think students are, it's really interesting, the feedback I'm getting is that chatbots are helpful to lower students' anxiety levels, especially before doing spontaneous language exchange with authentic speakers of the language, like in our Boomerang program. So I'd really like to somehow incorporate it more just for real life interactions, and that students can kind of anticipate handling a routine situation. Do you think that's something that you would you envision using the baguette bot for?
So on the Hugging Faces, it doesn't necessarily have the oral conversation. Is this what you're referring to, Mina? Like to the speaking proficiency, right?
That
And
too, but also to kind of, if they want to, yeah, speaking as well. Yeah.
okay, so for the day-to-day interaction, they can do that, but with the baguette, it's only written. Now, I think Mina, you'll have to wait for next year panel for me to tell you tell you a little bit more about the speaking proficiency skill that I'm trying to work on that, and something is cooking, Mina. I cannot.
Great. Good.
Yeah, but I'm still testing it out. It's a little bit technical though, so we'll see how that goes. But it's impressive how this the AI in the education scene is going. It's going so fast, and it's so hard to cope with all the tools at some point.
It's overwhelming, truly.
Yeah.
But just so you find that it was like a good, it's almost like your office hours, like it's just like a mentor, right? Like it will be a substitution for you
Yeah.
on your office hours. Is that the idea for the
Mm,
baguette or the baguette bot?
yeah, the idea is to give more access to students, more opportunities to practice with their own pace at their own free time, but I was also always available to answer their questions. And my explanations can be more tailored than AI. It can be sometimes inaccurate or cannot really predict what the AI is saying. So I'm trying to adjust it as much as I can, but inaccuracies can happen, hallucination can happen. There is always this risk. So I wouldn't say it's like 100% substitute, but it's a good reviewing practice opportunity. It would also, the goal is to alleviate a little bit of our workload as well, but not to replace us, hopefully.
Rania, I found it fascinating your
Thank
talk and your program, and I do practice with my students. When we practice oral interviews in Spanish, I know that your bot has real-time conversation practice. So sometimes I say, okay, everybody, get your chat GPT. Let's ask the question about food and see what the chat GPT tells you. And there is a voice component that if you add that, you can
Yeah.
also have that. So does this also have, I'm assuming, a real voice component in French for your students have a real-time practice?
No,
Conversation?
not yet. No, not yet. And I thought about that because, as Mina said, it can be a very anxiety inducing to speak to a real person, to speak to a native. And we do that with Talk Abroad and
Yeah,
Boomerang and all these
yeah,
platforms. And
yeah.
for our oral exam, it would be a good opportunity to practice to speak with a bot. So I'm working on that. I still don't have a finished product. The chatbot on the Hagen Faces, it doesn't offer that option. But I'm trying to do that on other platforms. So I still don't have the final answer on this. I'm still working on it.
Yes, because even for
Thank you.
ChatGPT, you need to pay to be able to
So there's
talk for the premium, right? If to be able to talk with ChatGPT, you have to speak, and that it will reply orally. I believe you have to pay the premium.
I do have it just maybe because I'm on the premium. I paid last month for the premium ChatGPT, but I'm not really sure. Maybe it's is it
With the
accessible
free
for the free?
version, you cannot talk, and it's also very
Oh,
limited
okay.
how many questions you can ask.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, wait, I've talked I've talked with chat.
Maybe you're
With
paying.
chats.
You're paying with if it's ChatGPT, you're paying.
Yeah, no, I'm on the paid membership or subscription for this month only, just like to try things out. And it's impressive how human-like it sounds. It's even sneezing at some point, and it's taking time like to think about it. Oh, I think that. So it's becoming more and more like um, humanized, and it's kind of scary. No, I cannot hide that.
All right. Well, I guess then we should end here, but thanks so much to all of the presenters, and I hope that you all have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.